Adventures of Irvingman!
Yes, it's Irvingman, strange visitor from California who came to Tacoma with powers and abilities far beyond ordinary YouTubers. Irvingman, who can change the most innocuous statement into a dumb joke, still lives in his childhood with his old TV shows, and who, disguised as Irving J. Funkelmeyer, fights a never-ending battle for laughter, music, and ad revenue. The title is a deliberate callback to the old serial The Perils-of-Pauline, first made as a silent film series in 1914 and remade many times since. These serials were characterized by the bad guys putting Pauline into some kind of horrible, inescapable danger and leaving her there, which of course resulted in a nice cliffhanger that would bring the viewer back to see how she's going to get out of this. It was the origin of a lot of the melodrama tropes, such as tying someone to a log and sending them through a buzzsaw, or tying a woman to the railroad tracks, that sort of thing. It all started right there. And the whole mess endures to this day. Talk about a lasting legacy. I salute you, Pauline.
Yes?
Mr. White, please. Mr. Perry White.
Well, who shall I say is calling?
A friend, perhaps?
She's clearly terrified, but when she buzzes Perry and says, "There's someone here to see you, but I don't know his name or what he looks like," Perry blows a gasket.
You don't know his name, you don't know what he looks like, you... Send him up.
Perry was in the middle of reaming Jimmy yet again, so he already had a good lather going. If he would settle down for a second and consider what she said, he might actually suss out that the guy is wearing a mask. But settling down isn't a thing Perry does. In fact, he's gotten so used to being angry if his blood pressure drops below 200/150, he faints.
What's the meaning of this?
Patience, Mr. White. I shall try to explain.
I wish Clark was here to see this.
That thing is made of lead, so even Superman can't see who he is.
In the first place, I'm gratified to find you all here together. Perry White, Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen. I could only wish that Mr. Clark Kent could be present also.
I hear my name mentioned?
So what's with the fright mask and what does he want?
The Daily Planet, with Superman's help, succeeded in ruining the best-paying racket I ever had, and sent several of my closest friends to jail.
Well, they must have deserved it then.
That's beside the point. I intend to get even.
With Superman? Why, don't be silly. Nobody can harm him.
No, but I can strike at him through his friends.
You can do the same thing pretty much every bad guy has done since the show began. What a novel idea. Superman can't see through the mask, and it's locked on so he can't yank it off without taking the guy's head with it. Superman flew to Africa to visit that tribe he made the diamond for way back when, and got their formula for shrinking heads. After that, it was easy.
And besides, I have 10 other men walking the streets of this town dressed exactly like I am and wearing the same kind of lead masks. And theirs are locked on too. And I'm the only one with the key.
Big deal. Arrest all of them. That seems like a no-brainer. Or maybe Clark will just stand there while all 11 of them wander around in front of him. Upstairs, they're taking it all seriously, but none of them are going to run away. Perry and Lois are off to a political luncheon appointment, leaving Jimmy alone in Perry's office. Clark is at police headquarters talking with Inspector Henderson.
Look, Bill, why don't you at least assign some bodyguards to the chief and Lois and Jimmy?
Yes, yes, I'd be glad to if Mr. White okays it.
What do you mean if Mr. White okays it?
Well, you can't assign a bodyguard to a citizen without his permission. That's the law of this state.
Clark says, so call Perry and get his permission. Duh.
Hello, Mr. White's office, Olson speaking. Hi, Inspector. No, Mr. White and Miss Lane, they just left to go on a political luncheon. Sure, they were fine. Me, I'm okay, too. Who'd want to bother me?
Lead mask guy would. Duh. He's too busy pretending to be the boss and reaming Perry White to think about such things.
Want me to drive?
Yes, will you please? Just a moment, Miss Lane.
They know their lives have been threatened and they don't even bother to check the back seat. Then again, nobody ever does in these shows. Even in an enormous car like that, have you ever tried hiding in the back? Not only is it insanely uncomfortable, the least little glance and you're spotted because your back and your butt are going to be sticking up no matter what you do. Random human butts have never been a feature on automobiles.
Drive out as usual, except that instead of taking the right turn toward the Civic Center, turn left and head out of the city.
Boy, you picked the wrong guy on the wrong day.
Too bad Lois is no Tim Robbins. She'll obey. On the other hand, Tim Robbins' character was like that because he thought his wife was cheating on him. For Lois to get that angry, she'd have to catch Superman with Sergeant O'Hara again. At their destination, Perry says, "You realize we know every turn you took and exactly where this place is." As if they intend to give him a chance to tell anybody, but Perry really isn't too bright when it comes to such things. For reasons I can't quite grasp, he seems to think being the planet's big cheese makes him untouchable, even though by now he's been kidnapped enough times to prove he isn't. But as I said, Perry is a little slow on the uptake sometimes.
And as a matter of fact, I don't think you could remember the route we took. Well, for example, suppose you wanted to tell young Mr. Olson, say, how to get here. What would you say?
Olson, get in your car. Take the Crest Lake Road.
Needless to say, that's a tape recorder microphone our villain is holding. As quick as Perry finishes reciting the directions, he'll call Jimmy at the Planet, play the tape back for him, and Jimmy will be on his way here before you can say don't do it. Perry's smug attitude did it again.
And now we must be going again. Each of you has a date with Destiny.
A last date.
Outside.
You don't have to be a clever newspaper person to know what that means, so why bother going with them? Sit there and make them shoot you there on the couch and make a big mess for them to clean up. The end result is the same, and since you know they intend to kill you, there's no real incentive to do anything they say. Just get it over with. I've never understood why TV people are so docile in that situation. I'd be defying these guys every way I could and daring them to shoot me instead of having their fun with whatever they've planned. But as we know, I'm a much bigger hack than the average person. Clark and Henderson have been spinning their wheels in Henderson's office, but by now Clark can't raise anybody by phone. Perry and Lois never made it to their luncheon. Clark has a plan. Let them capture him too, and they should take him to where the others are. Needless to say, Henderson and his cops will be following.
A helicopter. And Kent's probably in it. They'll get clear away before we can trail them.
Oh, no, they won't. Our boy figured this would be the plan, so he compensated for it. Now, helicopters don't fly that high, and they're reasonably easy to see for the most part, so a bunch of cops could tail it in their cars, but our top-notch inspector won't think of that. He'll just pray Superman is somewhere around to rescue Kent.
Well, Mr. Nosy Reporter, you've turned in your last story. In a minute, you'll be lowered into that vat of acid.
You can't do that. It'll dissolve his suit. Do you have any idea how much he paid for it? When Clark asks about the others, our man reveals that he's a fan of the old serials.
We have Mr. White in the old sawmill back of Centerville. He's tied up like a bale of laundry. And in just about 10 minutes, he'll go sliding into the buzzsaw. And in just about 15 minutes, Lois Lane will perish too. She's tied to the railroad tracks on the main line just east of Rockport Junction. And then there's Jimmy Olson. Right now, he's driving his car back of Crestvale up into the mountains. But what he doesn't know is that we've poured acid over the brakes and the steering gear. And in, say about 20 minutes, he'll be going down a sharp curve and then, blam!
It's good that they're happening in 5-minute increments. That gives Superman plenty of time to get from one to another. They start the machine and watch Clark lower into the acid. Funny thing, there's no yelling, screaming, not even a little grunt. Apparently, this acid is the painless kind. While he follows the helicopter, Henderson is putting out a massive dragnet looking for Perry, Lois, and Jimmy. What he needs to do is what I said at the beginning: arrest every guy in a lead mask and sweat them until one of them gives up the big boss and all the rest. He won't, but it's what he needs to do.
They've got to be somewhere.
Everybody's got to be somewhere.
I don't want excuses. I want action. And send out an APB to pick up every man wearing a lead mask.
That took long enough. Superman has work to do. First, the sawmill. There you go, Perry. Now it won't kill you, but it'll give you the doggonedest head massage you ever had. And by the way, you'll have to find your own way home because he only has 5 minutes to get to Lois. It's not exactly a trip across the threshold, but he's carrying her. Lois will take what she can get. He has 10 minutes to get to Jimmy, but he doesn't know where exactly Jimmy will be on that road, so this is going to require some searching. And one time in his life, Superman is too late. Poor Jimmy.
Help! Help! Help!
Nice and easy. Give me the other one.
Correction, smart Jimmy. When he could see Superman wasn't going to get there, he had the good sense to jump out. Granted, he didn't exactly do it right, and Superman still had to rescue him, but at least he made the effort. Everybody is safe. Now the question is, where do we find the bad guys?
That shouldn't be hard. I wrote his address down.
You did? Nice going.
Remember those directions they gave him with Perry's voice? Jimmy doesn't trust his memory for such things. He takes notes. Later, Henderson reports that Superman used his X-ray vision to see which of the lead mask guys had the key. Obviously, he was the ringleader, and they're all getting an extended vacation behind bars.
You know, there's one thing I don't understand, boss. We saw Kent go in that tub of acid, but we didn't...
Shut up, you fool! Don't ever say anything about that again. Don't even think it.
Nobody believe it, huh?
Nobody. I don't even believe it myself.
You bought inferior quality acid, duh! Next time, don't take your equipment advice from this guy. Hey friends, if you enjoyed the video, please click the thumbs up button and let me and YouTube know it. If you're not subscribed yet, you know what to do. And remember, you can become a patron of this channel for as little as $2 a month. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.